So we've got our first Indie World showcase of the Nintendo Switch 2 era coming tomorrow. I got some predictions, so let's just jump right into it. So the showcase will be about 15 minutes long, and it comes exactly 1 week after the partner showcase that came last Thursday. Now, while I'm excited that we're gonna get some new indies for Switch 1 and Switch 2, I really hope we get some announcements for Switch 2 patches for some existing games, whether it be some indie games that, ran on the Switch but ran a bit, subpar with the performance, if those could get upgraded, or even games that ran well. I'd like to see them running as good as, their versions on the PS5 and Series X. There's some indies that came out on the Switch 1, and they ran pretty good, 1080p, 60 frames per second. But, they also came out on Series X and PS5 at 4K with HDR and, maybe some games even 120 frames. So now that we've got the Switch 2, which is capable of all that, it'd be pretty cool if they revisited some of those games and gave us some hopefully free patches for some of that stuff. So that would be great. I'd look forward to seeing at least a couple announcements of that. But anyway, first major prediction. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Are they gonna show Hollow Knight Silksong or nah? So previously we did see Hollow Knight Silksong in the April Direct, I think for the Switch 2, and it was in the sizzle reel for literally a 0.5 seconds. We barely even saw it, but they did reaffirm 2025, and that was back in April. So I feel like by then if you're gonna release the game this year or not, and they pretty much said it is. I think they might have shown it in an Xbox Direct in June or Summer Game Fest. I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. If y'all remembered, let me know in the comments. I feel like it's coming this year, but I don't think it's going to be shown in this Indie Direct. And it's not because it's not ready or anything. I just feel like the game is so big in terms of hype at this point that it would just suck up all the attention from all the other indie games that are going to be shown. So I don't think it's a good idea. It reminds me of Deltarune. Deltarune is an indie game by all means, but that game was shown at the April Direct. It's that big where Nintendo was like, we want to highlight it for our new console. So I feel like Hollow Knight Silksong is such a big game that it's gotta be in the September Direct or something. Or if you were gonna show it, you would have shown it in the partner showcase. It's that big of a game. I don't think you show it in an indie world when companies are trying to, get their studios off the ground and highlight their games on Switch 2 and Switch 1. So I don't think it's gonna happen. If we're not going to get Hollow Knight Silksong, I do think there's the possibility that they show a Switch 2 patch for Hollow Knight, the original game. And the reason I say that is because on the Series X and the Series S, that game runs at 120 frames per second with HDR, with 4K. That's the Series S, which the Switch 2 is kind of close in power with. So if they can get it running on the Series S, they can probably get it running on the Switch 2. And it was such a big deal too for Nintendo to highlight that, the handheld screen for the Switch 2 is a 120 hertz screen. In docked, it can run 120 frames. I think they could do that. I think that would be a really cool thing. And if Hollow Knight is coming out later this year, then, having people come and revisit Hollow Knight on the Switch 2 with 120 frames per second, I think that would be dope. That would be a dope patch. I really hope we get it, but moving forward, there is one game that I'm praying we get in this Direct, and that is UFO 50. Now, if you have not heard about this game, it's fantastic. It's basically a collection of 50 NES style retro games, and it came out on the PC on Steam last year. And man, that game it would be perfect on the Switch. It's just, these very bite-sized NES type games, but they're very in-depth too. I have not been able to play the game, but I've seen footage of it, and it just looks like a blast. I mean, this game, if it's going to be in this Direct, I can see it, being the shadow drop. The same way Pizza Tower was in last year's Indie World, I think that could happen here. So hoping we get it, and I can also see this game getting some type of, physical copy distribution, whether it be with limited run games or whoever wants to fund it. I feel like this game, you give it the shadow drop on the eShop, and the collectors, the people that love physical copies, get yourself the UFO 50 standard copy or the deluxe with all kinds of little extra trinkets. I mean, this game kind of deserves it. It's such a good game from what I've seen, so hoping we get it in this direct. Now let's talk about the makers of Shovel Knight Yacht Club. They got a brand new game coming out this year called Mina The Hollower. They already revealed what the release date is going to be. It's going to be October 31st, but a demo did come out on Steam about a month ago. I can see them, showing the game at the indie world, getting people hyped up, and announcing that, hey, a demo is available on the eShop right now. I think this is a no-brainer, given how popular Shovel Knight was on the Wii U and on the Switch. It makes sense to do the same with Mina the Hollower. Another game from Yacht Club that I'm pretty confident we're gonna get is Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope DX. Now this is an enhanced version of the original Shovel Knight. They showed it in last year's Indie World, but it's been radio silence since. But what they did show looked interesting. I mean, you got 20 playable characters, online multiplayer, rewind, and save states. I've been meaning to get back into Shovel Knight and actually beat it. I mean, I played this game on the Wii U and I got pretty far, but it's the Wii U, I kind of just stopped playing. And yeah, but I have it and I've been meaning to get back into it, but I'm hoping we get this game. It looks like the definitive version of Shovel Knight, and I can also see them announcing like some type of physical copy distribution in this direct as well. If not in the direct, maybe on their own channels afterward. But yeah, I think this one could definitely get a physical copy thing, especially since Shovel Knight had a goddamn amiibo, like, come on, I feel like it's gonna happen with this, so we'll see. Now, another popular indie game that came out on the Switch is Celeste. The Celeste dev team did have a game coming out called Earthblade, but they canceled it earlier this year. So it's not likely that we're gonna see a next game from them anytime soon, given that they spent like 5 years developing that game. Now, the pixel artist for Celeste, though, a man by the name of Pedro Medorios, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but excuse me if I'm not, actually went and started his own game studio, and they've got a game coming out called Neverway, which looks fantastic artistically. Like, it has this very cool horror aesthetic. It kind of looks like Stardew Valley. I've seen people in the comments for that trailer kind of say that. And the person doing the soundtrack is a man by the name of Disaster Piece. What's cool about him is that he's the same person that did the soundtracks for Fez and Hyper Light Drifter. I have not played Hyper Light Drifter, but I have played Fez, and that soundtrack is amazing. So yeah, this game is shaping up to be something pretty special. Definitely have this on your radar if you don't already, but there's no release date yet. It could be being saved for this Indie World showcase, so we'll just have to wait and see. Now, here are some other games that I'm pretty sure they're going to show in this direct, starting with Moth Kubit. Now, Moth Kubit was announced last Indie World with a release date of spring 2025. Well, what do you know? It's summer, it's almost the end of summer, and there's still no information out on it. Like, it did not come out at all. I don't even know if they announced the delay. It likely got delayed due to the Switch 2's early summer launch, like literally June 5 it came out, so it would be kind of hard to put out a game right before that. I really do feel like they delayed it and they were like, you know what, let's just save it for the next Indie World post Switch 2 and, kind of ride the hype of Switch 2 and, get more sales off that. So, good on them. It looks like a great game and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. Next game I want to talk about is Puffies. It's a game by Like Studio, and the reason I'm highlighting this game is that their last game, Stitch, was in the April 2024 Indie World, and it came out as a shadow drop. Like, it came out literally, they were like, hey, it's available now, go get it. Now, looking at this game, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it looks like a Switch 2 game that was backported to mobile. I mean, the game looks like it was made with mouse mode in mind. It's basically a puzzle game, like literally a puzzle game where you drag all sorts of characters, which, they're the puzzle pieces, into the spaces where they fit. And it just looks like the way, this is the trailer that I'm showing y'all from the iOS version, but come on, it looks like, like if it's on the Switch, you just use the Joy-Con mouse to drag the pieces, put it there. I would not be surprised if this is also going to be a shadow drop, given that their last game was as well. Moving on to another game called Coffee Talk Tokyo. It was shown last Indie World, and it had a demo released just last month, but it still does not have a release date, just 2025. So I'm pretty confident in saying that it's gonna be shown in this Indie World, given that it was shown last time. I think now's the time you show that release date. And that's pretty much it for my predictions, but y'all already know what I'm gonna say. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and let me know in the comments what are y'all predicting for this direct. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing the Indie World with y'all. Appreciate y'all as always. Take care.